What's up guys, it's Billy and Bonsai. Today's video I want to talk about the Pixar film, WALL-E. And so first things first, I want to talk about how brilliant Pixar is. Because if you even watch in all their films the beginning animation to their brand logo, you know, the 3D animation where it says Pixar and the lamp hopping on the eye. And the thing that's so mind-blowing about this intro is that I think the concept of all Pixar films is to basically make films that in the beginning you're at one state of consciousness and then by the end of it you're at another state. It's like the evolution from the state of the I, the personality, the ego, to then, you know, pure happiness and joy. So, and I think the light, you know, the lamp jumping on the eye signifies, you know, light and knowledge is what conquers this limited part of you. And all their films, I think, have that concept. And I believe that the beginning of every Pixar film is telling you symbolically that each of this film is about the knowledge of once you squash the I, the human personality, and the altered self, the ego, you can reach this happiness and joy and a new state of consciousness that you see every character experience in every Pixar movie. And that's why I believe those Pixar films and animation films and Disney have that concept for all their films where the journey of self-actualization is told in all their fairy tales and even in the films like WALL-E. And WALL-E is one of my favorite Pixar films because the symbolism in that, to me, is describing the concept of the conscious mind, which is WALL-E, and your subconscious mind, which is Ava. Your conscious mind is curious, is programmed to do a job, but yet has this desire and longing for something new and different. In the film of WALL-E, that case is to find an attachment, to have a relationship and companionship with energy or the subconscious mind, which is a way to create a new experience in life. And the story that WALL-E experiences is, I believe, the story of creation, or the idea of implanting an idea into your subconscious mind to then experience in physical reality. Because the idea that your conscious mind is kind of in this barren wasteland of an empty mind, and the beginning symbolizes that all these structures and all these things that have fallen are all old concepts of the mind, and the conscious mind is there to pick things up and clean it up until it experiences something new. And it longs for this love and this feeling that is this connection to your subconscious mind, to love something into creation. And that's the purpose of a conscious and subconscious mind. And so WALL-E, once he sees Ava, which is a beautiful and funny way describes your subconscious mind because it's so much more powerful, sharp, and can fly. You know, something that the conscious mind is limited in the way that it's been programmed, you know, as a tool and a function of the mind. So it can never do what the subconscious mind can do, which is a lot more powerful. And then once WALL-E invites her into his home and he shows the contents of the mind, of this conscious mind, with all these different artifacts and tools, and, you know, and the one thing that WALL-E wants to show her is a flame and a flower, which is, you know, the flame is energy, symbolizing divine energy and awareness, while the plant and the boot represents life and something new to create. And so when Ava sees the plant, she goes into hibernation mode because now is implanting your idea into your subconscious mind by the love and energy behind it. And once that is implanted in her, your conscious mind has to continually love it, no matter the blanket and non-reaction that comes from your subconscious mind. It's like the unknown, but you have to continue to love it into life and keep your attention on it, that your subconscious mind is programming it for you to experience a physical reality, but it needs you to feed it and nurture it with love, the way that Wall-E does, no matter what happens. And by the time he gives up, then the subconscious mind then enters a place where the idea is taken into space, into the idea of the mind, because the mind is symbolized in movies as space, because it's always in the future, while your body is in the past and your emotions are in the present. So once they're skyrocket launch into space, it's the concept of your idea is then sent into the mind to then become physical in matter, energy condensed down into matter. And so that film, I think, is about that. And then and the only thing stopping it is this little program called the altered ego, which is like artificial intelligence, in which I love how they present in Wall-E as like this AI captain, this wheel, and his little AI robot that's trying to maintain control and do its job and make sure that this idea doesn't get manifested or implanted into the core of the ship. And so your mind has to be able to keep that focus on Ava, on this idea, when everything around you is kind of distracting you, and all the fat and overweight people are basically symbolizing your brain cells, because they're not being put into use or focused on a intention or a new experience. So that's why they appear lazy in the film. But once you set an idea into motion, it builds chaos, and energy moves into a focused path or into a certain direction that brings all these brain cells into awareness of itself, because now it has to turn into a new idea and has to wake up from its current path to then experience a new path. And so that's why there's a lot of chaos once he's in the ship, and Wall-E has to find a way to stay with Ava and then keep her idea intact, as symbolizes in this plant. But then the only thing stopping him is this little ego, and it tries to even destroy the conscious mind, so it can't put this idea into Ava. But once this connection and this love is made, there's nothing that can stop it. And so once it happens, you have this dance of your yin and yang energy in one with this idea, and knowing that it's becoming one with you because you are loving it into life. And so that's why this dance is so beautiful and sweet when they're in space and Wall-E's using the little fire extinguisher to dance with Ava. And the final test that Wall-E has to experience is that his consciousness has to change. So a part of him has to die. And the sad part about Wall-E is how they show that this process is like a mechanical and a machine dying or sacrificing itself for a bigger, more important cause than itself. And that's the journey of this becoming a new state of consciousness, where you have to surrender, like giving birth to a child, everything that your ego desires and wants, that needs it in order to feel happy, a way of getting it, when the whole idea is that you might already have it. It's already inside of you. You're creating it, and so you can love it. And so this old limited part of you, this state of consciousness that's limited, has to die. Like Wall-E, that conscious state in mind, those neurons all have to die and reconnect to a new state of consciousness where that doesn't exist. And this way that's so beautifully shown in this film. And then when Ava has to do whatever she can to put these pieces back together to make sure he's still okay, and that there's a chance where his conscious mind is just gone. But the thing that brings it back to life is the little spark, is your soul and the heart. And when you see that spark with Ava and Wall-E, and when they touch in like their third eye, it wakes up his awareness to himself, to who he really is, and they're together. And that they've manifested a new reality where this new idea has life, and all the brain cells are awakened behind it to then create that new life for it and with it, because it's one with you. It's not separate from you. And so if you watch Wall-E with that symbolism and that context, I think you'll find a beauty and a lesson, and something that you can learn, that you feel deep inside of you, where just a little more light and awareness to that film can help you, lessen the pressure and the suffering of the ego, of the personality, you know, the journey of creating something new by the transformation of yourself. And that process is shown beautifully in WALL-E, but it's all a psychological and inner process that you have to see. It's not as physically scary as the film might present itself, but it's all about your mind. You know, ships represent your mind. The space in sci-fi movies represent the future, so your mind. And if you look at that film and the idea of the Pixar movies as a concept of light bringing awareness to your darkness, of this I, this personality that takes every thought that you have and considers it to be more real than the energy and the feeling that you have inside. The already knowing that you are complete and total and perfect, and the only thing stopping you is these thoughts that your ego attaches to, that then creates suffering and attachment and judgment of itself. Instead of knowing, like WALL-E, all you have to do is love an idea so much more than any limitation and any limited thought in your mind or any distraction that WALL-E experiences, because you remember that feeling, and holding hands of that warmth and that union is much more important than anything your ego could say. So that's why I love WALL-E and Pixar movies, well, especially that one, because it hits on so many levels and it's beautifully expressed in a form of entertainment, and you know, for all ages. And the only thing for you to really truly understand that is just another level and a different state of awareness to really appreciate it and enjoy it. So I hope you guys like that film just as much as I do. I love to hear in the comments what you think of it, what you think of this concept of this awareness to that film. And thank you again for watching this. And I hope you guys have a great, wonderful rest of your day and week. And please don't forget to subscribe to 58 on YouTube and join the 58 membership for more content to empower your life.